What's going on, football fans? It's your host, Bad Takes, with Bad Takes in Football, back with another video for you. Going to be diving into the early slate of football games on Sunday, but before I do that, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I'm on my road to my first 100 subscribers. It really helps me out and it's free for you to do, so make sure you hit that sub button. Also, make sure to like this video, comment, tell me what game you're most excited to see this Sunday. Let's hop into today's video. Let's dive into the first game on this slate. I'm going to be talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars facing off against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, an important question for me in this game is, can these defenses repeat the performances they had last week? The Jacksonville Jaguars did a great job against the Carolina Panthers, making Bryce Young look like he's having the similar struggles to what he did early last season. And the Cincinnati Bengals had a great defensive performance against the Cleveland Browns. They had 2 interceptions and held the Browns to 16 points. Now, some X factors for me in this game are going to be Travis Hunter, Travis Etienne on the Jacksonville side. Particularly from Travis Etienne's perspective, they really need to be able to run the ball successfully in this game in order to keep Joe Burrow and that offense off this field. Also, Travis Hunter needs to be able to have a great performance not only on the offensive side, but also on the defensive side. He's going to be going up against probably T. Higgins on the defensive side, so if he's able to shut down T. Higgins, that's going to be a huge advantage for the Jacksonville Jaguars. On the offensive side, again, you're going to need to be able to put up points against this Cincinnati Bengals team because, again, this is a prolific offense. Although they didn't show it last week, Joe Burrow only had 113 yards. I really expect them to step it up this week. They have the confidence going into this week actually winning a game in week 1, which has only happened one other time in Joe Burrow's career. So again, for me, can Jacksonville's defense stop Joe Burrow or at least slow him down enough that this offense can compete with the amount of points that I expect the Bengals to put up? From my perspective, I don't really think that's going to be the case. I really liked what I saw out of Travis Etienne last week, but I still have some question marks about Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence can be a good quarterback, but I'm just not seeing it right now. So for me, when I look at this game, I'm expecting the Bengals to win this game 28-17, and the Bengals are going to start this year 2-0. The next game I'm going to talk about is the New York Giants facing off against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this is a divisional game, so it has more importance. And for me, what I'm looking to see is, one, can Russell Wilson actually get the ball down the field for this New York Giants offense? Malik Neighbors is doing a good job of pretending like he's not mad about what happened last week. He talked about how he has resting bitch face. I don't really think that's the case. I saw a clip on the sideline of Brian Dable trying to give him a high five, and Malik Neighbors just completely ignored it. He's clearly frustrated about what's going on, and so for me, if Russell Wilson isn't getting the ball down this field, we might even see Jackson Dart sometime in the second half of this game. Now on the Cowboys side, what I'm curious to see is how this offensive line handles the pass rush of the Giants. Dak Prescott needs to have time to be able to get the ball down the field to his key targets in CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. I think this is a great opportunity for that duo to really shine in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw these two receivers combining for over 150 yards and potentially 2 touchdowns against this New York Giants defense. Another important factor for the Cowboys is, can they get this running offense going again? I was actually pretty pleased what I saw out of Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. They combined for over 100 yards, so if they're able to do that again against the Giants, I think this is going to be an easy win for the Dallas Cowboys. I expect the Dallas Cowboys to win this game 23-14, and I think it's going to be a game where they dominate pretty early, and the Giants are going to be struggling to come back, and it's just going to be too little, too late. Let's talk about another divisional matchup between the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions. Both of these teams are coming off of divisional losses against the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers. And for me, both of these teams have to be really hungry going into this game. If you watched the Packers game last night, you know this NFC North, you have very little room for error if you're any other team other than the Packers. They just seem extremely dominant. And so I'm looking to see how the Lions bounce back. They really couldn't get their offense going against the Packers. Doesn't seem like anyone will be able to. So really getting some momentum going against this Bears defense is going to be extremely important for them. I'm looking for them to be able to establish a run, which they really struggled to do last week. And on the Bears side, the Bears had a lead going into the fourth quarter up against the Minnesota Vikings and gave it away. So for me, I'm curious, how does Caleb Williams respond? Is he going to come into this game with confidence, or is he going to be struggling early on? I think the Detroit Lions, especially with Aiden Hutchinson on the edge, is going to give Caleb Williams a lot of trouble. And I think it's going to be really hard for him to be able to pass the ball deep down the field. It's going to be best for him if he's throwing mid-level or early passes to DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. They're also going to need to get their run game going in order to make sure to set up that pass. If they're going to want any sort of deep passes, they're going to have to set up that play-action play in order to make sure that Caleb Williams has time, because otherwise, I really do think the Lions could really come out of this game quite easily. Both of these teams are still trying to figure out their offenses, and I think we're going to be looking at that happening in real time. I think that's still going to take both these teams a little bit of time, but again, I'm still giving the edge to the Detroit Lions in this game. I see the Detroit Lions winning this game 28-20. Next game I'm going to get into is the Los Angeles Rams versus the Tennessee Titans. Now, this is an extremely veteran quarterback, Hall of Fame quarterback, going up against the first pick in the draft, Cam Ward. So I'm really excited to see how experience is going up against this youth. Now, I don't think anyone here has any sort of confidence in this Tennessee Titans offense, mostly because of the fact that they just don't have good receivers. Their receivers were not giving Cam Ward any help last week, and I don't expect it to be any different in this week. The Los Angeles Rams have a really good defense. Cam Ward is going to be running for his life against Jared Verse and Braden Fisk. I really do believe that, so I don't really expect any big plays from the Tennessee Titans. Their best bet is really doubling down on that running game. If you see Tony Pollard running for 100 yards in this game, the Titans actually might have a chance, but still, I think the Rams offense is just way too powerful. Kyron Williams should have a really good game against this defense, and I don't think any cornerbacks are going to be able to stop the combination of Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua for the Los Angeles Rams. So as long as Matt Stafford's back is healthy, I expect him to carry the Rams on his back this week. I'm looking at the Rams to win this game big, 31-10. Next game I'm going to be talking about is the New England Patriots against the Miami Dolphins. This is another divisional matchup, and I can tell you this, after last week, I don't know if there's a team I have less hope in than the Miami Dolphins. They just looked completely lost. They have no cohesiveness, and it looks like their culture is just completely ruined. Mike McDaniel also looked completely lost out there from a head coaching perspective. So I just don't have any trust in this team. This is a great game for Drake May and Mike Vrabel to bounce back from their week 1 loss. I expect this offense to be very balanced between the run and the pass. TreVeyon Henderson also struggled in week 1. They really need to get him going in the run game in order to open up the pass even more for Drake May. Because TreVeyon Henderson, he's going to be counted on to really make this a balanced offense. I expect the Patriots to be running the ball with TreVeyon Henderson at least 20 times in this game. If Tua is somehow able to get on the same page as Tyreek, I could be wrong, and maybe the Miami Dolphins actually make this a game, but I just don't have any sort of confidence in that. Tyreek Hill seems to be in the news for more things off the field than things he's doing on the field recently, and I don't expect that to change. When you compare these two quarterbacks, Drake May just isn't making a lot of mistakes, while Tua had 3 turnovers last week. And that's a huge differentiator in how I see this game going. When I look at what I expect the score to be in this game, I don't think it's going to be super high scoring. I expect the Patriots to win this game 21-13. When I was going into this week looking at the 49ers versus the Saints, I didn't expect that I would be seeing a matchup between Mac Jones and Spencer Rattler. Brock Purdy is supposed to be out for a couple weeks, and that really hurts the chances for the 49ers in this game, who are also going to be missing George Kittle. I'll say this now, if the Saints can't win this game, if Spencer Rattler can't find a way to beat Mac Jones and a beat-up 49ers offense, I don't think there's going to be any hopes for the Saints to win any games this season. And I'm being completely honest. I talked about how I don't have any trust in the Miami Dolphins. There might be one other team I might have less trust in, and that's the New Orleans Saints. So Spencer Rattler isn't getting the ball into the end zone through the air. This could be a really, really tough year for the New Orleans Saints. I think they're already in that direction. But if you can't beat the 49ers without Brock Purdy, without George Kittle, without Brandon Ayuk, you might as well join the SEC for the rest of the year and just hang it up. Because I don't think there's a single other team out there that you're going to be able to beat. When I look at the score of this game, I think it's going to be a messy game, and it's also going to be low scoring. I expect the score of this game to be something like 17-10, and I'm still actually going to give the game to the 49ers in this game. The NFL really packed a lot of divisional games in these early weeks. The next game I'm going to be talking about is the New York Jets versus the Buffalo Bills. Now, both of these teams should have a lot of confidence going into this game. Although the Jets lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers, that was a really impressive performance from Justin Fields. You also have to love what you saw out of Josh Allen in that offense going up against the Baltimore Ravens in the fourth quarter to come back from a 15-point deficit. I think this game might be potentially closer, but to me, the biggest X factors in this game are, can Justin Fields have a repeat performance against this Bills offense? If Justin Fields is able to get the ball down the field to make sure to keep the run game open, I expect Breece Hall to have another 100-yard game against the Buffalo Bills. The Bills really struggled against the Ravens' run game, and it wasn't until the fourth quarter, when the Ravens were being super conservative, that the Bills were able to stop Derrick Henry. The Jets' defensive line and pass rush, to me, are better than the Baltimore Ravens, so I think they're actually going to cause more trouble for Josh Allen than Baltimore did. I think that Josh Allen is going to be scrambling a lot more in this game, so if he can use his legs to extend plays either through the air or on the ground, that's going to be their best bet in this game, because I expect Sauce Gardner to be shutting down Keon Coleman in this game. When I look at what I expect as an end result in this game, I'm predicting the Bills to win this game. I think it's going to be 27-17. Let's talk about this Seattle Seahawks versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the easy take in this game is to say that the Seattle Seahawks are going to lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron Rodgers had a great game against the New York Jets. He was getting hit a lot too, and he was able to stay in the pocket, and he just remained consistent with his 4 touchdown passes. Mike McDonald is a great coach, though, for the Seattle Seahawks, and I think he's going to have a really good game plan against this Pittsburgh Steelers team. He's played against them very regularly when he was the defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. So if Mike McDonald has this defense ready for this Pittsburgh offense, that's going to be a huge advantage for the Seattle Seahawks. Now, on the other side, can Sam Darnold actually get it going? He really struggled last week against the 49ers, and he really needs to have a bounce-back game. I'm sure there are already people wondering, is this the Sam Darnold of the Panthers and the Jets, or is this the Sam Darnold from the Vikings? If we see the Sam Darnold from the Vikings, I really do think that the Seattle Seahawks have a chance to win this game. I'm still not quite sure that that is going to happen. One interesting aspect of this game for me is the fact that the Steelers are only favored by 1.5 in this game. So I'm wondering, what does Vegas know that we don't? Another scary aspect for the Pittsburgh Steelers in this matchup is the fact that they will be without defensive lineman Derek Harmon, who sprained an MCL last game. I do think that the Steelers are still going to win this game in a close one. I expect this to be a low-scoring game. I'm looking at it to be 17-13 Pittsburgh Steelers. The last game I'm going to be talking about in this video is the Cleveland Browns traveling to the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I think that this is a great game for the Ravens to be able to bounce back after that loss against the Buffalo Bills. It's really interesting to me. I've seen 2 comments from Jerry Jeudy as well as safety Delpit, who seem to be very confident about their matchup against the Ravens. Jerry Jeudy said that the Baltimore Ravens cornerbacks don't pose any sort of challenge for him. He actually might be right in that sense. They looked abysmal against the Bills, especially in that fourth quarter. But when Delpit said that Derrick Henry was not hard to take down, you're just asking for trouble, Delpit. I'm going to be completely honest. I hope that Derrick Henry runs all over your face. I hope you become a part of the actual field. Honestly, like you said that to Derrick Henry, a Hall of Fame running back who is still at the top of his game. That is just a dumb move to make, and it's probably one of the more Cleveland Browns things I've ever seen. You can't be talking trash like that when you're 0-1. Joe Flacco is coming home to Baltimore, so who knows if that brings back some memories as well as some energy and some strength in his arm, and maybe he's able to throw the ball down the field. I can tell you, David Njoku generally does actually a really good job against the Baltimore Ravens. For some reason, David Njoku has the Ravens number. They've struggled against him constantly. I do think the Browns' defense, especially their secondary, is actually a really tough matchup for this Ravens offense. The combination of Denzel Ward going up against Zay Flowers is going to be a really tough matchup for Zay Flowers. And so if DeAndre Hopkins and Rashad Bateman don't have good games, this actually might be a tougher game from the Ravens than most people expected. I think both teams have a bad taste in their mouth, but I think the Ravens are super hungry, especially after that loss against the Bills. I expect them to win this game 23-14. That's all I have for today's video. I wanted to go over those early slate of games. I'll post another video tomorrow on the 4 o'clock as well as the Sunday night football game matchup. Thank you again for watching. This is your host, Bad Takes, with Bad Takes in Football, signing out.